Hello, and welcome to You Can Grow Your Own Way, a conversation for parents and carers of neurodivergent children. I feel so privileged you are taking time out of your busy life to learn all about the ways to interpret neurodivergence for you and your child. Remember, all advice on this podcast is general and may not specifically apply to your child, so we encourage you to also talk to your GP, paediatrician or specialist to see if what you've learned will help your family. Hello, and welcome to You Can Grow Your Own Way, a conversation for parents and carers of neurodivergent children. We've got a special episode today. We're diverting from our diagnosis and definition episodes, and we're going to be talking to Justin Bruce, the director of the Hidden Disabilities Sunflower Program, Australia and New Zealand. We decided that we would pop this one in here because for those of you who have neurodivergent children and you've been finding that there are certain spaces that can be more triggering than others, the Hidden Disability Sunflower Program is actually incredibly helpful in helping them navigate that. So Justin Bruce is an executive manager at Bailey House, supporting adults with intellectual disabilities under the NDIS. 4 years ago, Justin brought the Hidden Disabilities Sunflower to Australia and New Zealand with the aim of building a more tolerant, understanding and inclusive society for all. Justin is dedicated to promoting the voice of people with disability to build self-advocacy and proudly supporting the workforce who strive every day to make a positive social impact. This is an amazing program and I'm really excited to share it with you today. Justin, welcome and thank you so much for taking the time to talk with us today.
Thanks, Carly. Thanks for having me on. It's a honour and privilege to be joining your podcast and sharing our important and somewhat interesting story about sunflower.
Beautiful. So with that in mind, tell me, what is the Hidden Disability Sunflower?
Well, essentially it started at Gatwick Airport in 2016 where they were looking around to try and support travellers who were had non-visible disabilities in the airport environment, which is really complex. And they came up with this idea of just creating some identifier and talk to their marketing agency about how they could do that. And then surveyed the community, the disability community there in their region, and came up with this incredible idea of, so simple, of just a sunflower to identify that you have a non-visible disability.
I love that. I can tell you that we use the lanyard for Mr. 8, and he has a range of hidden disabilities. So he's got ADHD and ASD plus some other things. And in an airport, it is unbelievably helpful because it's such a high sensory environment. And there are so many unfamiliar things, especially for a child in an airport, that they have to wrap their head around. So I love that that was actually where the concept started. It is such a space that really does need that extra helping hand.
It is a very complex space, and there's a lot more work to do, but most of the major airports across the globe, but particularly in Australia, are doing a really good job and trying their hardest to improve accessibility and inclusion in the airports.
And look, the big thing about that, especially for neurodivergent people, is that often it's difficult to understand social rules that you haven't seen before. And there are so many social rules in an airport that don't actually exist in any other environment. If you think of like bag check and things like that, it's so unusual. So to know that staff are aware that someone might need an extra bit of support in that sort of circumstances is really, really vital.
I've just been part of a webinar where they were talking about the work that they're doing at one of the major airports here. And here's a statistic that just kind of shocked me, and I don't know how they're measuring it, but they clearly are, which shows that they're interested. As soon as you walk into an airport, your anxiety level increases by 30%.
Wow. Wow. That's amazing. And it would be, it's all those unused, irregular rules and patterns of behavior that you have to connect with. I mean, plus there's the excitement of flying, right? And the anxiety that comes from being on something that's going to be in the air. But it's just different to the way you experience everyday life. And if we're getting that from a neurotypical standpoint, just imagine what it must be when your brain sees the world differently.
Absolutely. and I think, there's a lot of work, as I said, to do, but there's also a lot of moving parts in an airport, a lot of different organisations involved, different touch points. So
Mm.
as you navigate your way, even before you get there through your public transport or, parking and right through to security, baggage handling, the airlines themselves, the airport staff, there's so many different moving parts, and they're not necessarily always as connected as they can be. But one thing we know for sure is that your experience does rely on the support of humans at some
100%.
point.
Yeah, definitely. And so I'm interested, how did you get involved? Because this is an international program. So how did you get involved?
Yeah, great question. So I work for Bailey House. We support adults with intellectual disabilities, have done for over 70 years, and there's about 250 clients at the moment who, with their NDIS package, um, utilise our services for skill learning development, health, wellbeing programs, that sort of thing, and accommodation support. And it's just been a wonderful journey for me from the commercial sector into the not-for-profit and supporting people with disability to understand what it means for someone with an intellectual disability. And when we saw this initiative in the UK, we said, "Fantastic! This would be great for our clients, those that choose to access really complex environments and services and products, and struggle a little bit to be supported and to get the help and assistance they might need on any given day." So we said, "How do we bring it out here?" We contacted them and said, "How do we give it to our clients?" And they said, "Perfect timing. We're looking for someone to help us distribute it across the region." So
Oh,
we put our hand
awesome.
up about 4 years ago, and because I love the program so much, I put my hand up to help drive it, and that's it.
Fantastic. That's fantastic. Okay, beautiful. Um, and so you were saying before, so Gadwick Airport is where it started, as an initiative out there, which is uh, amazing to see that someone, or obviously a group of people, really identified the challenges there. So we've talked about how it's come to Bailey House. Uh, it's recognised in how many countries now?
I can't give you the number because it's growing rapidly and big, but
Okay.
I can sort of give you the continental regions, I guess. So started in the UK and then spread. I think we were one of the first pioneering outposts, Australia and New Zealand,
Hmm.
and then spread across Europe. So certain countries are doing it, extremely well. Others are just starting to join up. Um, and yeah, spread pretty rapidly across Europe. Now it's gone to the US and it's spreading across America and South America as well, and the Middle East. So United Arab Emirates and other countries around there. And I think it's sort of jumped over Asia, but it's now starting to, the demand's growing because people travel, and work in different countries and live in different areas. So that all that commuting has been driving the awareness and therefore the demand. So pretty much global now.
How incredible. That's absolutely amazing to see an initiative spread that wide and really quite quickly when you think about it. That's phenomenal. So tell me, how does it help neurodivergent children as well as their parents and carers?
Yeah, well, that's the $1 million question. So it does. It does so many things. It's meant to do one simple thing, which is make the invisible visible. So if an individual has a non-visible disability, medical condition or disorder and requires support, they can put a sunflower product on and it identifies to any of the staff in an organisation or anybody in the community who understands what the program's about and has been trained that they're there and they're essentially saying by wearing the product, I am willing and ready to accept an offer for support. And that's pretty much the essence of it. But there are so many other benefits that come from it outside of that.
It's as a parent and carer of three children with neurodivergence. It can be really challenging sometimes to have a hidden disability, and to be taken seriously in spaces when you say that your child can't help a certain behavior or can't be around a certain thing or needs a certain level of assistance. Um, because it's not like they're on crutches or they're in a wheelchair or and somebody automatically looks at it and it creates that natural empathetic connection for wanting to be able to assist. And I know, speaking to other parents in similar situations, that it's, in spaces like playgrounds and supermarkets and all of those kinds of areas, um, it's a real challenge. It is a real challenge. And so to know that there is something that can identify that in a really, what I think is also really lovely about this, in such a subtle um, and cheerful way. I mean, the great thing about a sun, who doesn't smile when they see a sunflower, It's such a gorgeous symbol. Um, so it's amazing that it embraces an everyday challenge for us in some of those more challenging environments.
Yeah, well, thanks for pointing that out. We love the symbol too because we strongly believe that it does um, universally represent positivity and
Mm,
joy and warmth and generosity in the symbol of the sunflower. It's also a universally grown flower, across the
mm,
globe, so it's easily identifiable, and that's the key to it is identification. But I think to your point about the challenges that people, particularly neurodiverse people, may face as they go on their daily journey. That's, and you pointed out supermarkets and, airports we've talked about. It's everywhere. It's, your public transport, your place of employment, workplace, your hospitality venue, your entertainment facility or stadium, for example, retail environments like shopping centres or supermarkets, health and well-being,
mm,
services, medical, business services, sports and recreation, travel and tourism, everywhere. From the minute
mhm.
you leave your front door to the minute you get home, whether it's a work day or a holiday, there are challenges that can be better navigated with the support of somebody who identifies that you might need support and offers that support.
100%. 100%. Now, you were mentioning that there were other benefits. Can you elaborate?
Oh, so many. One of my favourites is that when we work with organisations to train their staff with our awareness training module, that basically says what is the Sunflower Program, what's a non-visible disability, of which we list over 980 on our website. So there are so many and such breadth and depth. And then it talks about what you can do to support someone to offer that assistance. The benefit of that is that if you've got a junior casual staff at a checkout at a supermarket, for example, they first of all, because of the simplicity of the message, which is see sunflower, offer help, essentially, and then
Mm,
how to do that in terms of respectfully and politely and patiently, and to really listen and try to support someone in an appropriate manner. But the benefit of that is that they're not only enabled with a very brief piece of training and a very clear symbol, they're not only enabled to offer support, they're empowered for the
mm,
first time, where all of the fear barrier around what if I get it wrong, I'm not going to do anything, it creates inertia, that fear. They actually, now we're hearing more and more, they feel like, great, you're wearing a sunflower, so I can approach you. You're telling me
mm,
I can approach you. And
mm,
I now have the tools and understanding to know that I can do it. And I'm doing it with the mindset of there is no perfection here. It's just progress. If I just make an effort,
mhm,
things will change.
mm.
And that empowerment is one of the greatest benefits we see.
You've used empowerment, which I think is a great word for it. I think the other thing around that is um, adding a lens of empathy through that training as well, for something that sometimes people aren't necessarily even aware of. And so that training also just provides that level of education that this is a thing, just as simply as there are people out there who are experiencing what you see as a normal environment in a different way to you, and that they may need some help.
Absolutely, and a couple of other benefits. One is, what we're essentially trying to build awareness around and training around is your common courtesy stuff. It's your common code of conduct in an organisation for staff, but it's often forgotten. We all forget every now and then to be patient and tolerant and accepting. of other people, particularly when our own lives are being challenged. So it's just a gentle reminder every now and then. See a sunflower, stop, think, maybe reevaluate the way you're interacting with everybody, not just people with disability. But another benefit, and this ties in with what you're talking about, is that we're shifting the conversation away from disability. We're shifting it to requirements and needs. We're saying, don't tell us anything about your personal disability, information that you don't particularly want to share. You shouldn't have to. Tell us what you need today at this particular given time in this particular place to make this experience the best it can be for you.
I'm really glad you said that because there was something I was thinking about, and I know that it can be a barrier for some people, and that is the label of what their disability is or what their diagnosis is. And some people aren't comfortable with sharing that or putting that out into the world because they don't like the judgment that can come with it, often false judgment and misconceptions. And so, what you're saying there is that you don't actually need to disclose, I have blah, this is why I need help. It might just be something as simple as, have you got somewhere quiet that I can sit right now? I'm finding this overwhelming.
Yeah, you don't need, a medical certificate or any proof to get a sunflower product. You just need to identify as having a need or a requirement at any time. You don't have to wear it. You'll find that there are more and more staff who are trained to support and may wear a support product like I'm wearing now,
Mm.
which could be a lanyard or a lapel pin or something that says I support. And you can approach someone wearing that and say, I need to sit down, or I need to, I don't understand the communications here. Where's the bathroom? Whatever it is your requirement is. So they're a symbol of support,
Mm.
and meaning you don't have to, identify as even being a sunflower wearer if you choose not to. But when you do, shifting the conversation away, and look, all these facts and processes that I'm talking about, and all the stats and things that are behind it, they don't mean anything until you've got a story. So
Mm.
for me, it's all about stories. And the story that comes to mind for me is, and this is partly hypothetical and partly factual because I've heard it many times, somebody standing in a queue at potentially a supermarket, for example, and they can't stand up for a particularly long period of time without experiencing, discomfort or pain because
Mm-hmm.
of their condition or disability or disorder. So they put their sunflower on. The staff see it and say, would you like, how can I help you? Would you like to come to this queue, this aisle here or something, the fast tracking queue at the airport? And that's great. That interaction's great because that person gets what they need, which is to get their food, basic requirements,
Mm.
and get home
Mm-hmm.
as quickly as possible. But what it also does is the rest of the people in the queue who now come to understand what the sunflower's about with the support of podcasts like this, I can get the word out. It means that they're going to be more tolerant and accepting and say, please fast track the queue. No excuse, no information required to justify that.
Mm.
And that's the ultimate goal of this program, is where we're not just training staff, but the entire community supports each other, peer-to-peer support. When you're on a train and there's no staff around, or
Mm.
in a complex environment like an airport, we can all help each other.
And so that then brings me to something that popped into my head, and that is the tram. The tram that's been decorated in the sunflower logo. That's a gorgeous piece of marketing. Absolutely beautiful. What a great way to get it out there and on such an important medium as well that often does need help with navigating.
Yeah, look, I have to say, we're a very small team at Bailey House driving this program, and we rely really heavily on a few things. One is the support of the members who join the program and roll this out, because it benefits them to tell their customers that they're sunflower friendly. So they do that, and some of them do it extremely well. And the support of media and podcasts like this, where we can have an opportunity to share our message. And I'd like to call out, Public Transport Victoria, Yarra Trams, Travellers Aid, people like that who got around this program. And we were successfully, invited to this community partnership engagement program that Yarra Trams run, where they wrap a tram for us. And really, it's a great expense that they do this. And it enables us to get the message out. And we'll find that, more public transport networks are going to be doing this sort of thing soon. I can't mention who because it hasn't been confirmed, but you'll see more things wrapped.
Yep,
Um,
fantastic.
but yeah, it's a really important part of our program to ensure that we get the message out to as many people as possible.
Beautiful. And so, in line with that, how do parents, carers, and their kids get involved?
There's so many, I guess, there's so many different ways that people are getting involved, and we don't have control over that because the brand is owned by the people who wear the sunflower and who offer support. But ultimately, we're trying to make sure that any customer serving organisation, government, not for profit, commercial, anyone who has customers, whether they're selling a product or a service, um, can adopt this program and train their staff. So if you find an organisation where you think this is a complex environment, it would be so much easier if they recognise the sunflower. Just ask them to contact us, and we'll guide them through the process of joining up, onboarding, and training their staff. Excuse me, but that's probably the most important work that we're doing at the moment. For people who want to utilize the sunflower, come to our website. You can purchase one from us and we'll post it to you, or you can get one from our members who are part of the program, who often give it away for free. And wherever you go to these venues, and we have a map on our website that shows which organisations are sunflower friendly. That's what we call our members. And feedback your experience on social media, share it. I mean, we oversee the social media, but we don't control it. We love to hear positive stories and constructive feedback stories that we share with organisations so that we can all continually improve together. We prefer the positive stories because we think that drives change more effectively, rather than criticising one particular organisation based on 2 or 3 staff members that didn't get it right. We like to encourage the organisation to say, let's highlight and showcase the people who are doing it well and use them as mentors and guides and champions of the sunflower for the rest of the organisation.
Well, I can tell you firsthand that Facebook groups that I'm in, a range of them that cover broad types of disabilities and trauma and neurodivergence, it does get mentioned. Most definitely does get mentioned. I'm in a FASD group that's started in Canada, and it was being mentioned in a Canadian group the other day. So the word is definitely getting out there. And from what you're saying, Justin, parents and carers who are listening to this, who are already using it, make sure that you are telling those you're connected with that would benefit from it so that they are able to do that as well. Because you're right, look, word of mouth, this stuff is great, but word of mouth is the thing that's really going to get it out there, because other people will see the benefit and actually act on it. So now, I don't know if this is a question you can answer, but maybe you can. Do you have any special hints or tips for when you're using your hidden disability sunflower, whether it's the lanyard, the button, the wristband? And I'll just say now there are quite a few ways that you can wear it. So if you've got a child who is particularly sensitive to certain things, can't wear them, or you find that if they've got a lanyard, they're going to eat it. There are a lot of different formats that it comes in that you're able to use. So you can pick and choose what works for you, which is fantastic. But yeah, any special tips or hints?
Yeah, it's a good question. And look, there are a lot of products that are being produced with sunflowers on them globally. We've chosen to just bring out the 3 core products that seem to be suiting most of the community, whether it's a high visibility lanyard, a small lapel pin that can be pinned onto clothing and not touch your skin, and be a bit more subtle and a bit more corporate, and also a silicone wristband, which is really good for active. So, like Little S Australia might be utilising that more than, in a corporate environment where you've got sleeves. So, and you seem to like the silicone wristband as well. It's got a bit more, I guess, social kudos. But display it when you need it. Hopefully that organisation is a member already. If not, and the staff don't recognise it, perhaps have a conversation with them and say, "Are you sunflower friendly yet? If not, can you please look into it? Can you please raise this with your organisation? Because it would really help me and lots of other people." And if you don't feel comfortable wearing it, take it off, put it in your pocket, carry it with you, pin it onto your bag if you want. But hopefully, again, if an organisation says they're sunflower friendly, approach the staff and say, if you wouldn't mind wearing your sunflower supporter products, then I'll know that you're sunflower friendly and I don't have to wear mine because I don't feel comfortable wearing it. So they're the tips that we generally have.
Fantastic. Look, Justin, I think this has been so incredibly informative for our community. And I think that having something like this to quietly and yet profoundly support those people who often find it challenging to get the support that they need is a really incredible move for the future. And speaking of that, what do you hope for the future of the program?
Most people who don't have a disability want to support people who do have a disability. I'm sure of that. We've done enough market research to understand that. The reason they don't is often fear, as I mentioned before. I might get it wrong. Ignorance, lack of understanding, or knowledge around it. It's on a rare occasion it can be biases, which we're trying to break down as well. But the majority of reasons can be easily solved if somebody can be just encouraged gently to provide that support. So I think what I'm really hoping for is to focus on positive conversations and stories that continually promote the good work that people are trying to do when they offer support, and not focus on the errors that people make, because I think that's how this society is going to change, and we all start seeing this as not a complex thing, not a difficult thing, not a scary thing, just a thing that we should all be doing for each other.
I can tell you, if you want a positive story, I carry 3 in my handbag at all times so that I've got them available for wherever environments where my children need them. We've had priority security check at the airport. We got priority onto and off the plane when we were flying. So, I think the program's definitely working. I really, really appreciate your time this afternoon. And if people want to get more information, should they just head to the Hidden Disability Sunflower website?
Yeah, it's hdsunflower.com. It should
Easy.
direct you to the /AU, which is our local region. But just come to the site. There's a lot of information there, and there's a lot of support there for organisations who want to join, how to get a membership and how to train your staff and all the tools that are behind it. There's also a podcast that we run, Sunflower Conversations, which is global. So if you want to hear what's happening over in the UK, that's quite interesting. And we have a directory that we're building. So if you have a disability, and we list, like I said, over 950, 980 different disabilities, you should be able to find the name there, the title. But we also have an index where we're starting to build out more and more information to support people's understanding of disabilities. So come to our site, but continue the conversations.
Fabulous. I think that's a great place to finish. Thank you so much, Bruce. Justin Bruce, I should say. Thank you so much, Justin Bruce, for your time.
That was a pleasure. Thank you for having me on.
Be sure to check the show notes on our website for any links and references. You can find us at youcangrowyourownway.podbean.com. And if you found this episode helpful, we would love you to help us get the word out. You can share the podcast, tell a friend, and be sure to click the follow or subscribe button so you can access all our new episodes. You can also find us on Facebook and Instagram, where we would love to connect with you. You Can Grow Your Own Way recognises Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples as the first peoples of this place, now known as Australia. We're coming to you from Jabberung, Jawajali and Wadawurrung country, the country of our guest speaker, and from wherever you are listening. We respect the elders of the past and present, and we share our friendship and kindness.